but especially the Nigerians. I've known, and I've worked with them. Them Nigerians, I worked with a Nigerian guy about 3 or 4 years ago, and I had this particular job, and that dude was a straight up Israelite.
Yep.
Okay, he was all into the scriptures. Them so-called Africans are not into the Bible. If they're not into their so-called ancient heathenistic African religions,
they're following Islam.
They're following Islam, because the Arabs conquered a lot of them Africans, them Hamites, and forced them into Islam. Muhammad, going back to the time of Muhammad. Okay?
All right. It says, their rites, ceremonies, as well as their language, from one of the main arguments in favor of this theory of descent, circumcision prevailed among the Indians. They often bathed in rivers and streams. They refrained from touching the dead.
Yep, like the river Euphrates, back in Israel. We used to go in there, and pray.
Yep.
It says they refrained from touching the dead, from tasting blood.
That's right, because see that all goes back to the
law. Yeah.
And Leviticus, Exodus.
Yeah, because you're unclean when you touch a dead body.
You touch a dead body, you're unclean.
That's right.
Yeah.
It says they had.
And amongst the natives also, I'm sorry, brother.
No, brother.
When a person died, all that having a funeral and the body laying up there and embalming the body, with the Indians, we didn't believe in that. If somebody died, they would be in the earth before the sun was down, man. Right away. Okay?
But once that body starts decomposing, then you can have an outbreak of disease.
That's right.
Yep.
It says they refrained from touching the dead, from tasting blood. They had definite fast days.
Fast, the scriptures, they talk about fasting. So the traits of the Native Americans that prove we're Israelites, man.
Yep.
That proves it right there. It says they had definite fast days. Marriage with
like the Day of Atonement, which is coming up soon, sometime in August, when you fast for 24 hours.
July.
It's going to be in July. But usually in years past, it always fell around August.
A little early
this year. It'll come a little earlier, but it always usually come around that time, July or August. Okay, within that time, which is coming up real soon. How many of you guys are going? You same guys that's talking this shit. Are y'all even going to keep the Day of Atonement? A lot of y'all ain't got the balls to keep that. Read on, brother.
It says they had definite fast days. Marriage with sisters-in-law was permitted if they were childless widows. That's in the scriptures.
Yep.
If you deal with a woman and you don't have a son with that woman, then your brother, which that would be his sister-in-law, if you died and you don't have a son, your brother is supposed to take her and marry her and raise up a seed unto you. So they're telling you right here that the Indians said marriage with sister-in-laws was permitted if they didn't have any children.
That's right.
Really, it was dealing with if they didn't have a son.
Yeah. That's right, a son. Keep that
line going. Keep that line going.
Yep.
It says marriage with sisters-in-laws was permitted if they were childless widows. Wives were discarded for new helpmates. They also sacrificed first fruits on high mountains and under shady trees.
The first fruits. Feast of first fruits.
Where they get
That's a high holy day.
That's a high holy day.
That's right.
Yep.
And I'm going to tell you something. Another custom amongst my so-called tribe in particular, amongst the Seminole Indians, which this is in the scriptures, in the Apocrypha, it says sitting at it all with another man's wife. Now, if you're in Indian community, if you're amongst the so-called Indian community, you are not, if there's a woman who's a married woman, you're not supposed to go up to that woman and talk to her, man. If you have something to impart to that woman, you have to go through her husband. Okay, it's considered improper to sit and have a conversation with a married woman. That's considered improper. You can be killed for that. Okay? And even a woman is not supposed to go up to like another man. Like if you have something to say to a man, you have to go through the wife to give that man a message. You understand? All these things are proper, man. At 12 years old, that's when you go through, as a boy, you go through your vision quest. That's when you go out in the woods by yourself and you fast. And then you do a sweat lodge and pray. And then you receive your new name. You're given a name. And your name was always given to you according to your characteristics, your personality. See, that goes back to the scriptures. You were given a name in accordance with your spirit or an event.
Basically a nomen omen.
That's right.
Yeah, name ticket.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, a woman that's married, you're not to touch her. You're not to have and nobody except for a woman's husband is to touch her hair or have any form of conversation with that woman. See, that goes back to the scriptures, man. It all goes back to the scriptures, man. So you're going to tell me the so-called Native Americans are not Israelites? Even today, even though a lot of our people are bugged out and don't know that they're Israelites, But it's even the spirit bears witness with our spirit that we are the children of the Lord.
Yep.
Certain small customs of Israel are still in our people, even though they're lost. Right there, brother.
It says, they had temples and carried a holy ark before them in the time of war.
See that?
Wow.
And these are scholars that bring this out, so-called white scholars.
No refuting that.
Okay, that brought it out and wrote and put this in a book and wrote books on it.
Yep.
They have access to ancient sites. So who's some simple-minded niggas? You know what it is too? It goes back, but it's all spiritual. It goes back to that's why in Amos the Lord said He's gonna bind up the breaches thereof.
That's right.
And you know what? The Lord is doing that now on a level, on a small level, by way of us. By us bringing out this truth about the tribes coming together and who the 12 tribes are. Okay? But He's going to do it. And when the time comes, when the Lord raises up Israel, He's going to straight up put it in the Israel spirit to come back together.
Yep.
Okay? Was there more?
It says, they had temples and carried a holy ark before them in the time of war. They were also like the 10 tribes inclined to idol worship.
That's right.
Because they were the 10 tribes.
Yeah. We are the 10 tribes. Yeah. We were the 10 tribes. That's why the Native Americans, we worship these different
idols,
deities,
totem poles,
and all that type of shit.
Yep.
Yep.
The Aztecs, they worship volcanoes. Okay. The phoenix bird,
yep.
the thunder beings, and all that stuff. Well, the thunder beings those are the angels, man. Really, when we were talking about the thunder beings, we were referring to the angels. The Most High and the angels, man. Okay? Read on.
So that's pretty much it right there.
Okay, so let's go back to the scriptures.
Okay.
That's a bad book.
Yeah.
But these are so-called white scholars that have documentation. Here's the book. Okay? If y'all can find this book, maybe go on Amazon or
you could probably get it
eBay.
from Amazon. That's about 20
See if you can find it for yourself. This ain't a book that we wrote and we made up. What was the author? The author back here?
It's on the front page.
Mayor Caseling and Charles Gross right there.
Okay. If the brother can pan up on it, that's it. That's the book. See, but you guys out there, you don't have the brain capacity. Well, no, the spirit just ain't working with y'all. You know what? You're not of the elect. If you can't get this, and anybody who refutes the truth, you just not of the elect, and He's saying for you, no way. All right?
Well, the scriptures say wisdom is too high for a fool.
That's right. That's
riches are not comely for a nigger.
That's right. See, the riches represent the knowledge, man. Only the elect is going to get this knowledge, and that's what this is for. A lot of you bow and arrows out there, you so-called Native Americans that have a problem with so-called black people, or nigger, talking about nigger this, but then the white man calls you a prairie nigger anyways.
Yeah.
A lot of you Native Americans, for whatever reason, you just don't like black people because that's what the white man taught you not to like black people. He taught all the tribes not to like each other over here. You all gonna die anyway, man. The ones of you that's a part of the elect, you're gonna wake up and come out of it. The ones of you that refuse to come back together with the other tribes, y'all gonna be wiped out anyway. You Native Americans don't even like each other. Amongst the so-called Native Americans, this tribe don't like that tribe, and you're all one tribe, the tribe of Gad.
Yeah.
Okay? And the ones amongst you that are known as so-called Seminole Indians, you're all the tribe of Reuben. But here it is amongst Gad. I'm a Blackfoot. I don't like Lakotas. Lakotas don't like Pawnees. Because over there on this side of the world, a lot of us had feuds amongst each other.
Right. Tribal warfare.
Old tribal feuds. So this tribe don't like that tribe. We was doing a lot of niggerish shit to each other.
Yep.
Running raids on other villages, stealing their horses, stealing their women, raping their women. It was all kind of mad. You know, but that proved it. They're niggers. Israelites. Finish up in the Apocrypha real quick. We're going to get to that. We're going to get these scriptures in there. Link all this in the scriptures.
Now here we go.
Finish up in the Apocrypha in Ezra.
It says, I'm going to go back to verse 41, 2nd Ezra 13 and 41.
Okay.
But they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country, where never mankind dwelt.
By way of boats that was talking about the Americas, where we are right now. We knew about this land. That's why we came and said, look, let's try to get over to that land. Nobody's inhabiting it, as far as we know, but the Spirit of the Lord guided us. Go ahead, brother.
That they might there keep the statutes, and we was reading in this book that the brothers holding that they were keeping the statutes.
Yep.
They were keeping the first fruits. They were abstaining from blood. They had fast days. That they marriages with sister-in-laws were permitted if the sister-in-law was childless, really going back to if she didn't have a son to carry on her husband's line. then his brother was supposed to take her and marry her. So we read that in there.
That's right.
Yep.
So that's an example of what the scriptures is saying. It says that they might keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land, and they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river.
Now what we're going to do when we're editing all this, we're going to put up a map. And we're going to show you, we're going to try to demonstrate on the map the way that we can. We'll put, when this show is, we'll have the map. We'll pan the map up and show like a little illustration on the map of the way that we came from Israel over to the Americas. Because we came that way out into the Atlantic Ocean, okay? And a lot of the tribes came all the way down the East Coast, down, you know, but we came out through Africa. We came around Africa.
The Horn of Africa.
The Horn of Africa.
And came up, and came around the Horn of Africa and came up and basically dispersed in South America, what you call the Virgin Islands, Jamaica, Haiti, and eventually the mainland America, and spreading up into Canada.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's how
Came all the way down into Central America and all the way up around, out into the West Coast. Okay, Central America, the Caribbean. Ephraim took the Caribbean. Simeon, Ephraim, Naphtali, Asher, Issachar, they dispersed down into Mexico and South and Central America.
Right.
Yeah.
And was probably a larger tribe at that time, so they got the bulk of the land. Canada,
Yep.
okay, the Americas,
Northern.
parts of Alaska. All right, read on, bro.
It says, for the Most High then showed signs for them and held still the flood.
That's right, while
So
we
they
was
were
traveling
passed over.
across, because that's a trip. So while we was out there in that open ocean, in the Atlantic Ocean, making our way here, the signs was probably chariots, man, the so-called UFOs. The Lord probably had the chariots guiding us right which way to come, because the Lord was set up for us to come here.
And think about this too.
And held back to where there was no hurricanes and bad
Typhoons
no
and all that
typhoons, no tsunamis while we were coming.
Because it took a year and a half, and think about it, when they went through the Euphrates and then they came up under Africa and came basically up into the Atlantic, that right there where the Horn of Africa and the Horn of South America is at, right in the middle of that's Hurricane Alley right there. The hurricanes right now, we're in hurricane season. It starts June till I think November or October. And from that, the hurricanes come from there and come up through that coast of South America and basically come up into Florida, the Panhandle, and keep coming into North Carolina, South Carolina, North Carolina, and coming all the way up here to the East Coast through that area. That's why the scriptures say that the Most High held back the storms, held back the floods, so that way they had a safe trip coming over this way, because it was set up in prophecy for our ancestors to make it over here on this land and set up on this land and populate this land.
That's right.
Yep.
Right. So let's read on.
It says, for the Most High showed them signs for them.
That was chariots. We were being led over
chariot.
here by the chariots.
Yep.
Those angels, man, were guiding us over here.
And held still the flood till they were passed over.
Passed over across the Atlantic Ocean. They started dispersing into the lands.
That's
over
right.
there.
Taking certain lands and just setting up shop. It says, for through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half.
That was the time frame it took for us to come from over in the Middle East, which was where we originated from, over here to the so-called Americas at that time.
It says, in the same region is called Osiris.
That was the land that was the name that they knew it as at that time. Osiris. I don't remember the exact meaning of that name, but we're gonna get the meaning of that. We're gonna look it up and get the breakdown to that. But that's what the land that Osiris is talking about, so-called America. Read on.
It says, then dwelt they there until the latter time, and now when they shall begin to come.
The latter time, meaning the last days. And we're here now.
Yep.
We've been here ever since that time until now. The so-called latter time, the last days. The last days of what? The last days of the time of the coming of the Messiah, Yahawashi. We're still here now.
Yep.
Okay? That was it on there. That was the main point.
So that was the main point right there.
Yeah.
And to show what Elder Rawchaa has been talking about, about this information being hidden, how the information is all out there, niggas, you gotta go look. Now, this is something called World Explorer Magazine, Far Out Adventures, the best of World Explorer. That's what this is called. World Explorer, Far Out Adventures, right? Now this costs about $25 if you could find it somewhere. That's what a retailer costs. You could probably get it cheaper. Now here on page 114 it says, Smithsonian. Now we know the Smithsonian Institute, that's down in Washington,
Yeah,
D.C.
the thieves. They're the ones who go around stealing a lot of ancient artifacts that belong to our people.
That's right.